So we've talked about the cryptocurrencies that I think are best to start with. You've got your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and Stellar Lumens. And what I want to talk about today is how do you buy them? Where do you buy them? Now, rather than sit in front of my computer and show you how to create an account and click a buy button, I think most of you can handle that. I want to talk a little bit bigger picture on what you need to be looking for and what you need to be watching out for, okay? So the first thing is you go to exchanges to buy your Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever you want to buy. But I do not recommend that you do not leave a lot of money on an exchange. Okay, you can for a minute and you can leave some money on them. But the bottom line is that any exchange, there's a risk that it could go under. Okay, the three main risks are, one, some of these exchanges have they're allowing margin trading. We have a very volatile market. I mean, they make a couple mistakes and they could go bankrupt. And there's no federal insurance on these accounts. If your exchange goes bankrupt, you could lose all your money, some of your money. That's one risk. Second risk is the government. The government has not blessed any of this. They say that a lot of these tokens are securities. These exchanges are not regulated as security trading houses. It's possible the government could come in and say, sorry, you're closed. Now, they probably would let you get your money back, but who knows? Maybe 6 months later. That's a risk I see. And also, an exchange, basically when you use an exchange, they are holding your private key and you trust them to do that. And that might be fine. But if there's a theft, if someone figures out how to get the private keys and they steal from the exchange, it's gone. And if the exchange loses it, they can't give it to you. You also may lose your money that way. So, there is risk. It's not crazy like, it's not going to necessarily go bankrupt tomorrow. But if you have a lot of money, I wouldn't just let it sit on an exchange forever. I have another video where we talk about where to store your tokens or coins securely. That's a different video. Right now, we're just talking about where to buy it. Okay. So there are a lot of exchanges out there. A website I like is coinmarketcap.com. On that site, you can sort by currency or by exchange, and it lists, if you do by currency, it shows different currencies, and under each currency, all the exchanges that sell those tokens. Or if you sort by exchange, it shows you each exchange, and then each currency that trades on that token. And it also shows you the daily volume. Sorry about the helicopter overhead. So that's good to look at. And basically, all that really matters with that is your volume. If you only want to buy $100 worth of Stellar Lumens and the exchange does $1,000 a day in volume, which is very small, but you only want to buy $100, yeah, you might be okay with that. But if you want to buy more than 1,000 and they only do $1,000 a day, that's not a good exchange for you, obviously. And in general, it's better, all things being equal, go to an exchange that has more volume. You'll probably get better, more accurate pricing. So that's coinmarketcap.com. Now, let me talk one other thing, sort of big picture issue, which is all exchanges accept and trade and sell Bitcoin. Most exchanges buy and sell Ethereum. Ethereum is not always as good sending exchange to exchange for a number of reasons. It's getting better, but in general, if you want to move coins from an exchange to another exchange, you usually want to do that in Bitcoin. And like I said, you can get Bitcoin anywhere, but your first step is converting dollars into whatever you're buying, Bitcoin or Ethereum. And Stellar Lumens, I don't know how to buy Stellar Lumens for dollars. I haven't found that. It may exist, and I recommend that you spend time out there looking for different exchanges. Maybe one I haven't even mentioned turns out to be great. Maybe a new one opens up next week. I don't know. I'm going to tell you about the ones that I know. But your first step is getting approved to convert dollars into your coins. And so the most famous one for that is Coinbase. Coinbase is it's regulated in New York City. I trust Coinbase. They're not going to steal your money. They're probably not going to go out of business. But if you do their basic sort of beginner trading, sign up and then buy some with a credit card, they only let you buy a little bit, and their fees are crazy. It's like 4%. If you buy one Bitcoin, at $10,000, it's going to cost you $400 a trading fee. Crazy. And so Coinbase is expensive, but there is. Let me see here. I'll talk about Coinbase for a second. So first of all, it's sort of. Actually, let me first talk about verification. No matter what exchange you go to, they're going to ask you a lot of questions. And I shouldn't say any. There are some decentralized exchanges, autonomous, and they don't ask you for anything. But I don't know of any that have a lot of volume that do that. But keep your eye on that maybe. But usually, most of the exchanges are bigger ones. They ask you for a lot of information. The reason they do that is the government, the U.S. government, maybe others, are up their ass, pardon my French, regarding know your customer and getting this information. I've heard people say, well, I'm worried. Oh, geez, they asked for my social security number. Are they going to, steal my identity, and they're scared to give info? That's not why they're taking your info. They're taking your info because they have to have it, or they can get shut down and put in jail. So be ready. When you are signing up for an exchange, have your ID ready. Usually a common thing now is you hold it up to a webcam and make a picture of your ID. And also, if you're signing up for the exchange, it's 2 a.m. and you're busy, cranking away. You know what? Before you sign up, turn the light on, comb your hair, make sure your webcam's ready. Maybe put on a nice shirt. Like, honestly, they reject people, and it's not because they actually think you're a criminal. It's that they think that if the government checked them, they would say this is not good enough. And you gotta pay attention to details. Literally, like for me, if my bank account says David Levine and I sign up as Dave Levine, they're like, David, these don't match. He's rejected. And they don't, call you up. And some of these places too support. They're overwhelmed. It may take a while for you to get approved. Be prepared for that, let me just see with verification, were there other things? Another thing that, they do on Coinbase, and I've seen it on others, if you want to set up a credit card or even a bank account, they'll do that thing where they send some transactions to the account, and you have to then show what the cents are on the statement. Coinbase also had a thing where you actually log into your bank. If you have, say, Bank of America, a thing pops up and you put in your username and password for Bank of America, and it logs into Bank of America in order to verify. So if you're signing up, have all of your information ready, and take it seriously, because if you make a mistake, they may just reject you, and that's the end of it, And I've always been, I don't have anything to hide, so I give them all my info, and I don't think they're out trying to steal my identity. So that's my approach, and so you need to get approved, and you kind of got to take it slow. Now, and when I say take it slow, maybe you don't want to take it slow, but they're going to take it slow. They may take a while to get your approval. Maybe part of the process is that you have to only buy little bits at a time, and then later they'll give you higher amounts. And sometimes they're just slow. Let's see. Now, and one other thing too is there's a thing called two-factor authentication. There's an app called Google Authenticator. It pops up these numbers. You'll see when you log in, most of the sites have something called two-factor authentication. You can use Google Authenticator. There's another one called Authy, A-U-T-H-Y. I haven't used it, but I heard it's good. Anyways, for something like that gives you more security, a lot of times they will increase your limits and give you sort of more of something if you use the two-factor authentication, if you use your Google Authenticator. So get ready to sign up for that. Now, for a lot of these things too, I'm not doing this video sitting in front of the computer, because I feel like, you can probably figure most of these things out. But for any of them, like whether it's how to actually buy your coin on this specific exchange, or how to use Google Authenticator. There's a lot of videos out there of people with these tutorials that will be better than what I would do right now. Look for those, but also be careful. Don't just look at one. Look at a couple, because some idiot could be showing you how to do it, and they don't know what they're doing, right? So, look at a couple, and you can get into the details with other YouTube videos. So, back to Coinbase. Now, Coinbase, and this sun is like, I'm sitting here and it's moving. I'm going to try to rearrange here a little bit. Oh, boy. How about this? How about this? There we go. Okay, so Coinbase, as of now, you can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Now, I didn't talk about Litecoin. I don't buy Litecoin. It's not horrible. Maybe it's going to go up in price a lot. I don't know. I've told you the ones that I like and I suggest you start with. But anyways, you can go to Coinbase and buy your Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, a way to save money on Coinbase. Okay, so you sign up. And let me just also say, Coinbase, I tried to help my father with this. He's an accredited investor, had a business for years, has money. His limits were $50 a week on credit card, $250 a week from his bank account, or he could, if he wired money in, up to $15,000. So and here's the thing. So first of all, obviously, if you wire money in, you can sort of have the amount you want. And then a trick I recently learned about, and I haven't even tried all of this yet, but a GDAX, GDAX, is a trading platform owned by Coinbase. It's the same backend, and it just has more features for trading. So if you wire money into Coinbase, you can then just go to GDAX and tap into that money that you've wired in. And if you trade with a limit order, there's no fees. Now, this I just heard about, and that was the case several months ago. Maybe now there's a fee, but it sounds to me like if you sort of do limit orders on GDAX with money you've wired into Coinbase, your fees are going to be much lower because, and like I said, I heard it was no fees several months ago in this video I saw. But that's definitely a better way to go. Coinbase is expensive. Another exchange I'm familiar with, Bitstamp. Now, I signed up for them back in 2014, and that was before, I think, I remember it being very easy. I just signed up. I was done. Maybe it's hard to get in now. They're in Europe, and they're okay. They have more coins than just Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they don't have my stellar lumens. But when I just go to buy, I find that the fees are one Bitcoin I was looking at on Coinbase, one Bitcoin at $10,000, the fee was $200 to buy. That's crazy to me. And then on Bitstamp, it was $100, which is still expensive, but half the price. So, but one thing to keep in mind, you want to go for low fees, of course, but keep in mind this market is so volatile and moving. What's more important is timing. And speaking of Bitcoin, yesterday, I woke up in the morning, it was at $9,100. Today it's almost 11,000. So, if I bought it yesterday morning on Coinbase and they charged me almost $200 fee, well, if today I buy it for free with no fees, I'm buying it at 11,000, which is a lot more than any fee could be. So timing is more important. So don't overthink the fees thing. It's most important to have your dollar cost averaging plan and try to buy on big down days. That's going to save you more money if you're smart like that than sort of saving on the fees. Nevertheless, let's try to keep fees down, of course. So Bitstamp is one that's regulated. It's been around for a while. It's pretty safe. I don't mind leaving my money on it. But now, what about buying stellar lumens? Now, this is changing all the time. This is a very rapidly changing market. Coinbase says they're going to start adding new coins very soon. They're going to be available on their platform. Maybe you're going to be able to buy stellar lumens right on Coinbase. I don't know. Maybe on Bitstamp. Maybe, I don't know. But as of today, to buy stellar lumens, you have to go to again, if you go to coinmarketcap.com, you can see a list of the exchanges. But the two with the most volume are Bittrex and Poloniex. Now, those two I don't know. I didn't get set up, and I'm not saying I tried that hard either, but I wasn't able to send dollars directly to either of those. Maybe you'll be able to. I don't know. But if not, so that means I buy Bitcoin at my Coinbase, and then I send it to Poloniex, and then I've got my Stellar Lumens, and then I'll talk about in the storage video. Then I don't leave it on Poloniex at all. I download it and leave it directly on the Stellar network. So you may, in a case like Stellar Lumens, as of now, it's not at a ton of exchanges. So you may need to buy your Bitcoin somewhere, move it to the other exchange, and use the Bitcoin to buy your Lumens, and then you take it off that exchange. So yeah, Poloniex, Bittrex, and Kraken are three that do decent volume in Stellar Lumens. Now, it also depends how much you want to buy. If you only want to buy $50 worth, you may have more options that you would do. If you're trying to buy thousands of dollars worth, you want to go somewhere that has enough volume that you're not going to move the price and has better pricing. Okay, now, another thing I want to talk about is the limits. I mentioned how Coinbase starts you off with these very small limits unless you wire money. Some places may restrict you from wiring money at the beginning. I don't know. But another thing to be concerned about, and I ran into this when I wanted to buy some Lumens on Poloniex, I sent a bunch of Bitcoin to Poloniex, and then I wanted to take it out, and they're like, well, you can only remove, it was only $2,000 a day. Now, that may be plenty of money for some people, but I had sent more than 2,000, and I sent it there. They took it without problem, without any delay. And then they said, well, now you can't take it out. I could only do 2,000 a day. And then I'm like, I was nervous. I don't know. There's Poloniex. I didn't want to leave it. So every day, as soon as it hits 24 hours, I'm trying to download. And it all worked out. And I got my money out. And now I submitted a ticket, too, to get higher verification so I can have bigger withdrawals. It took a month for them to get to it and approve me, and me submitting several tickets saying, if you want my business, I need a higher withdrawal amount. It took them a month. And so now I have a higher amount on Poloniex, but I don't leave any money on Poloniex. Only when I use them, send my Bitcoin, buy my Lumens, and take them off. So, be careful of the withdrawal limits before you buy. So one thing is you get your money in. The other is check how fast you can get it out. And I just heard someone else talking about, they were at an exchange. Like imagine I was at Poloniex for years and just left all my money on there. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I want to take my money off. And they're like, oh, sorry. You can only do this much. You're not approved. And then you have to wait the month or the however long because you finally asked for the ability to withdraw. So check not only how much you can put in, but how much you can take out. And there is a bit of a building trust over time thing that they pay attention to. So that's part of it can take time either because they're slow or because it's part of their process. They don't want to just give you the limit right at the beginning. Okay. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's sort of the big picture here. Bottom line is we're dollar cost averaging in over time to get a percentage of our portfolio into crypto assets. The way we're gonna buy them, I said start with, you've got your Ethereum and Stellar Lumens, which is a long-term hold. Bitcoin you own and maybe own 5 to 10%. You want to use that to buy your Lumens. You're going to find an exchange that accepts dollars. You're going to get approved there, and you're going to do it smart. You're going to put on a nice shirt, turn on the light, look good for the photo ID and the pictures they take of you, and answer the information accurately, and get approved and start accumulating slowly. If you have any questions, let me know. So you can always sort of track me down, whatever I'm doing. DaveLevine.com. I'll have info on there of what I'm up to. Nowadays, I am just on YouTube. If you want to contact me, YouTube I think is the best. I'm on there all the time. You can message me, comment on a video. And if you want to find me there and on any social, my social handle is DaveLevine.com spelled out. So Dave Levine, DOTCOM. So my YouTube is youtube.com/Dave Levine, DOTCOM. And if you like my crypto info, let Ty and the Knowledge Society team know that you want more crypto info from Dave. And that's about it. So let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the crypto sphere.